Slowly kisses busting by the river.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Papergoy.
And I'm Mr-Magazine.
Today I have a question, and I think I know your answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
When you pick up deals, how long do you wait to get rid of the items out of the deals, and why or why not?
Oh, good question. And there's a lot of variables to this
Okay.
one. It depends on what it is, obviously. Say it's bound volumes. Well,
Okay.
they're going to go in the corner for many, many years.
That's more scared pile listers.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
But if it's like current toys, current sports, cards of, Tom Brady, anyone that's trending, they're going right on. Anything that's Amazon is quick and easy, Hot Wheels cars, they're going right on because they can pump out volume.
Anything
And
seasonal also.
I know they're going to
so.
sell. Hats trucks we get in, a big collection, put them right on. So stuff like that. If it's something more difficult or higher price items we want to put on, if they're not too difficult to list, we'll get them on right away. If not, we'll say, hey, we'll try it later in the week. I'll prep them for you. Magazines are pretty steady. I'm doing them every day because we got a few magazine listers, and that's about it.
Do you ever? So actually, that didn't go where I thought it would, and that's good. That's what makes the show fun.
Sure.
So you get the things on because, well, seasonal, obviously, and trending, obviously.
Sure.
If they're more difficult things for people to list, you stick them off in the corner and hope that at some point somebody or other will list them.
Right.
Do you ever know that another deal is coming along, so you put aside some stuff from this deal to list at the time the other deal comes in? In other words, you know that you've got a deal with a lot of Mad magazines coming in, so you pick up 50 Mad magazines, you say, hey, I got a deal coming in 2 weeks. Let me just stick these aside and we'll do them all together.
Yeah, I would do that for sure. Yeah, definitely. That makes sense, and we have done that before. Sure.
Now, do you ever not list immediately because of, I don't want to use the word fear, but I guess it is in my world, it is fear of what the stuff's going to go for, and I mean that it's going to go for too much compared to what you paid for it, potentially, and that the person that sold it to you may be stalking your items.
No, I never think about that. Excuse me. But certain things like posters, I'll set aside posters. Oh, we'll get to them. Well, 10 years later, we got a loft with probably 25,000 posters.
Nobody's stalking you on those posters.
Yeah, they're very time consuming. You got to do some research. So, when my lister can pump out $25 items an hour, this is going to be like 5, 8, 10 items an hour. And then we want to make sure they're listing $50 or $100 posters if that's the case. So it involves me prepping stuff, which, if we got 10 employees, it takes half my day to prep that.
Well, that's before the new post office fees, too, on the oversized stuff. Exactly. So it'll get very, very expensive.
We should get those on sooner than later. I don't think we're going to get that many on.
I don't think you get very many on and shipped out by tomorrow.
Yeah, true. But, like the G.I. Joe collection, we got a lot of vintage G.I. Joes. I've been wanting to put them on. We missed the boat at Christmas. They're worth good money. But it's one of those things you don't want to rush on and just say, oh, G.I. Joe 12-inch style. You want to do some research. And the employees I have now, they're not as familiar with that type of vintage G.I. Joe stuff. So I said, just hold on to it. When I have some time and I remember, they're not spoiling in the corner. So, worst case, we sell them at Christmas time again or whatever. But you don't want to rush into stuff unless you know what you're listing.
See, and I actually do hold on to things, which is easy enough to do because, as we've talked in the past, I've got conservatively 25,000 unlisted items.
Yeah.
So it's not like a deal comes along and I absolutely have to get it listed today. That does not happen. Right. And I never do. I think the biggest deal I think I've ever done is something like $8,000, $10,000, something or other like that. Is the biggest deal I've ever done. So I've never had a deal where it's like, $250,000 deal and I borrow a lot of money from the bank. Right. And, sure. I got to get this not listed to get money back. I've never gotten a deal like that.
Right.
But a lot of times I will hold on to things because I don't know. I pay fair, but I don't necessarily know if the people selling to me know what fair is.
Right, true.
In other words, they go and they, I buy 10 boxes of things off them and give them $200, $20 a box for just stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be listing the items at $20, $25 a piece, but they're long tail items.
Right.
That's just the way that it is. And all of a sudden, one item in there that I never knew would go suddenly takes off and it sells for $85.
Yeah.
Well,
they could think you ripped them off.
they think, oh my gosh, I sold them 10 boxes worth of stuff, $200, you got $85 out of one item.
Right.
There must have been a couple of hundred items in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So I tend to not list stuff right away just for that reason alone. The downside of that is, gosh, had to be 8 to 10 years ago. I went to the flea market and bought some stuff, paid really good off of a mutual friend of ours, got a really good deal on it, and they're still sitting in the garage, not listed. I'm pretty sure he won't even remember he had those at that point.
Exactly.
Now, that all being said, if I purchase from a dealer, generally speaking, I don't hold off. You know, if I buy stuff obviously from an auction, I don't hold off. Those get listed right away if I'm able to do so. Why not? Who cares? The auction house couldn't care less.
Sure.
You know, it was a public auction. It went up. It went for $200. I want it. Nobody cares.
Right.
But it's more when I do the deals with the the deals with the private individuals and all that kind of thing. I do try to hold off because I could definitely see them searching, at least for the short period of time, wondering, is he going to list that? What did this stuff go for? What did that stuff go for? My expectation, again, is 3 months, 6 months, 9 months down, they've moved on. They've forgotten all about the deal. They've spent the money. They couldn't care less.
Right.
But again, I don't want to go home that weekend and list the stuff and all of a sudden have it be better than I thought it was. Well, because at that point, they
see it. Then the next time they see, oh, I saw that thing. Item. Yeah, like you owe them something now. I had a guy one time sell me that George Brett card. And he goes, oh, I paid $50. Just give me $100. So I gave him $100. I did some research. You know, there was none on there. A lower grade went for like $350. Wow. So I go, put up for $500, and it sold for $500. He goes, oh, you did great. That was a great deal for you. I go, yeah. So the next deal comes along, and he basically wanted me to do the deal even and not make any money to make up for the last deal. You know, and it's a weird thing, weird situation to be in. You know, I gave him a deal on this stuff, but you know, that doesn't have to do with this. And you know, what if I lose $500? He's not going to make up for it to me, you know, so it works both ways.
Well, and the other thing you have to be careful with on that is I had an individual that, a similar type deal, he must have brought that up the next 5 deals. And at some point you're like, I've paid for that already. Yeah, right. I've made up for you. I made up for it on the first deal. I nicely made up for it on the second. You don't keep bringing up every single deal that, oh, yeah, you got a good deal.
Yeah, once, maybe twice. Yeah.
So just kind of wondering if you could comment down below on your opinion on that. And again, a deal is a deal. You know, once you've purchased the item fair and square, you can do whatever you want with it. And, you know, you don't owe anybody anything else afterwards. But especially as you get into larger deals, you don't necessarily look at every single item in there. Or you don't necessarily, even if you do look at every item, you don't necessarily know every single item. So you list something or other, you know, you're like, hey, yeah, this all just looks like, and you list it all, and all of a sudden it turns out that one of the magazines was really rare. There was some rare piece of paper in there that, you know, went for a few $100s that you had no idea would go for a few $100s. You know, that kind of stuff does happen, but so the person selling it to you doesn't understand that because they're treating you as the expert, so they think that you know all of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, and they think there's no, like, expenses. So if you bought something for $5, sold for $80, oh, you make $75 profit. No, it doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't even come close to that.
Exactly.
You know, and they forget about the last time they came in and they sold you 5 items at $5 a piece, and you haven't sold one of them yet.
Right, exactly.
And they're all sitting in the store, and you know you're turning down $7 offers on them because you would lose money on them.
Yeah, exactly.
So do hit the like button if you could, and do comment down below. As I said, just kind of wondering what your opinions are on holding back on listing stuff if it comes from some sort of private sale. Now, obviously, again, as I said, auction house, anything at all like that, hey, that's all fair game. Nobody cares. But wondering if you feel the same way that I do as far as doing the private deals. We will see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.